haters, oh my God, the haters would just come out of the woodworks. You're going to lose all your money. Remind me in 3 months when this idiot loses everything. You know, your wife is going to leave you. Like the most negative stuff that you can think of that happens on social media. Well, eventually the narrative started to catch on that GameStop was a company with, let's just call it 10 million shares, but 13 million shares were short.
All right, well, welcome back to another episode. I'm here with my buddy Dan Moravec. Welcome on the podcast, entrepreneur, investor. Thanks for coming in today. It's good to see you again.
Absolutely, Jack. It's been so long since we've seen each other, and I'm really excited to just talk about all these cool topics that we have planned out for today.
Yeah, it's when's the last time we saw each other? Probably three years ago at the Panorama Garage.
Bumped into each other, like, you know, parking my car or something like that.
Right.
So
yeah,
that's how it is, though. Like, that's why Panorama is such a great spot, is that you have that effective collision. And when you live in a single family home, gated community, and all that stuff, if you're an entrepreneur, it's hard. You have to physically take yourself out of your home element and go somewhere.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, Panorama's like just a networking event every single day. Like I remember when I remember seeing the green Lamborghini every day for a while. And I think when I first moved in, you weren't there, you were on vacation, traveling or something. And then as soon as I'm like, see you in there, like working on it, I was like, I got to go talk to this guy. Like, let me go introduce myself and see.
You just moved in.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a couple weeks after I moved in. And so it was like, just, that's how we were able to connect, and from there just like create a friendship and, you know, talk online and see what each other's doing. So it's exciting to have you back. I think too, I met in that building was Michael Sartain. So he. Oh,
I don't know if I've ever seen him in the building.
Yes,
he must be in the other building or something.
No, at least I met him playing basketball in Tower 2. So I would play all the time in there, and he's not the best, but no, he's actually pretty good. But
it's a few years ago that I didn't move out, but I spent a lot of time, you know, in like Newport Beach now.
Yeah.
And I just kind of split my time back and forth, and I'm traveling a lot, so I don't see people in the building as often as I used to. But yeah, I used to play racquetball in that room, by the way, and then they turned it into a basketball court.
Yeah, they changed it up a little bit. It's but back then because when I was living there, it was like 2021. So right after COVID, when everything was, you know, kind of shut down, it was a little bit of a ghost town there. There wasn't much people. They were doing some renovations. Like I remember, like they have those rooms on like the second floor. They have the poker room and the movie theater. Like that was always completely locked and shut down. Like so I was never able to access that. But it wasn't. You would think like a high rise right there on the strip would be filled with people, but there's actually a lot of open spaces there. I don't know if it's changed since I moved out, but.
Yeah, I mean, I bought my place, and I've lived there since February of 2008. I actually rented it for a period of time, the exact place I'm in today, and my landlord just went under. He couldn't make his payments. The whole, housing crisis hit him hard, and I bought it as a short sale. You'd be shocked at what I paid, by the way. Have you been to my place? I don't remember.
I don't think I've been up there. I've seen... Actually, no, I did go up there one time. Yeah.
It's 2,500 square feet, which is big for a condo. It's all strip-facing windows, and I have the big crack in the building. I paid $480,000 for that place.
Wild.
In like 2010. I just took the bank to the cleaners, you know, because the bank owned it.
Yeah.
And he owed more money on it than what was paid. I think he owed like 1.3 on it.
Wow.
And I just
So you bought it right there at that sweet spot.
It took me 18 months to negotiate. That is the longest negotiation on real estate I've ever had. I went back to them with an offer. They'd sit on their hands and wait and try to wait me out. And I said, well, I'm just paying my landlord rent. The guy was not very ethical. He was charging me rent as he was just putting it in his pocket, not paying the mortgage company. So, but I was like, okay, no problem. I don't have a mortgage, so I'll just pay the rent.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I ended up buying the place and did a huge renovation to it a couple years later. So check it out.
That's awesome. Yeah, and it's one of the ones Like when you look at the building, it's like the one that's like you said, the gap in the
Yeah.
all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
it's
super cool.
the bottom level of the gap. So
Okay.
that's my balcony right there. And the two units above me, there's 3 units there in the gap. They don't have access to my balcony. I own that real estate,
Okay.
or I have rights to that real estate.
Got it.
However, the HOA documents are written.
Yeah. What's it worth now?
Probably more than what he paid for it back then. I haven't looked.
Yeah.
I mean, it's worth 7 figures.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well,
So-
I love the Panorama. I think it's a great place to live, like we talked about, to network, but even just the aspect of if you want to live on the Strip, I think it's the most ideal place because there's some nice places. There's Veer Towers and there's Waldorf, but when you get into those places, you're dealing with Strip traffic every single day. Like you're on
Yeah.
Las Vegas Boulevard. The Panorama is one street behind where you can easily get, access right there on Harmon to the Aria, but then also, take D Martin and be right there on the freeway. I mean, right now it's probably brutal because of Tropicana being shut
Not
down.
bad, actually.
No?
You can get right on Harmon now. There's a left-hand exit if you're going north. I think, just north. There's a left-hand exit that goes on Harmon, and you can go directly to the Aria, or you can go to the back gate at Panorama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I've always taken that. Oh, so you go that way to hit the freeway. You go on to Flamingo.
No, Harmon itself has a new ramp.
Oh, a new
that
one.
Never existed 6 months ago. It was not
Oh,
there.
okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a weird one. It's in the middle of the freeway, and it's like a wedge. It's weird. It's an exit from the express lane.
Okay.
But if you miss Tropicana, which you can't even take it now, just get in the left lane, go northbound on 15, and take that exit, and you are right at Panorama. It's actually way more convenient than taking Tropicana.
So it's like right there. I think I know
Yeah.
where you're talking about. Where like Valley View and there's like those bridges and stuff.
Yeah,
like that.
it's right there.
Nice.
Yep,
Okay.
exactly. So if you need to go to the Walgreens there or anything, just hop right on Harmon from the
Pretty
freeway.
Convenient spot to live.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I moved and I bought a house and went that route, like you said, gated community.
Yeah,
and all
where
that.
are you?
I'm in Silverado Ranch. So
Silverado. So that's Henderson technically,
it's
right?
almost Henderson. Like one street away from me is Henderson.
Yep.
But I got
Point.
yeah, not far. I'm off Eastern, and so, I mean, I had my puppy, and now I have 2. But I got like a nice big.
What kind of
big
puppies are you? I'm a
house.
big dog guy.
They're Patterdale Terriers.
Patterdale. What is a Patterdale?
They're pretty unique. They're not like very common. So they're
Yeah.
my old boss when I lived in Mexico. He had one, and so they're Irish hunting dogs, and so they send these. They're small, like they almost look like Labrador retrievers, right?
Really?
Like
I grew up with labs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So they have a little bit of pit in them. They have I don't know what else they have, but I know they have pit. They're from like Ireland. They send these dogs out. They're very athletic, very high energy, but they're not small. They're not big. They're literally just like little lap
Yeah.
dogs.
Well, that's what I was saying. A terrier. I'm thinking in my
Yeah.
head, it must be a small dog.
Yeah. They go out, so they send them out with Dobermans, and
Okay.
they hunt boar and foxes.
Oh my
So they'll dig
gosh.
holes, and like the little dogs, right? The Patterdale Terriers, they'll like kind of latch on and slow down these big boars, and then the Dobermans kind of just come in,
Go for the
kill.
neck.
Yeah.
Yep. Got it.
So, but they're awesome dogs. Like they don't bark a ton. They're kind of they can turn the switch on and off. They can be very high energy, having fun, running all around, or they can just be kind of cuddled up and chilling. So I love them. I had one for a while when I was at the Pano, and when I moved out, I had this big house, big yard, and every time I'd come home from
Yep.
working all day, my little girl would just be like, crying,
Yeah.
wanting attention. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get another one. So
Oh,
got one last year, and he's a lot bigger than her.
yeah.
But he's super cool. So
Yeah. I lost my little guy right at the pandemic when it started. It's like March 20th, I think. Right after I got back from the cruise, I lost him. I had him for 14 years. He was a mix, Chihuahua and Dachshund. And I miss that little guy every day of my life. The background on my phone is 2 Dachshunds right now because I'm manifesting. When am I going to get my next one? I can go get one right now.
Yeah.
But like, I want my life to be in a situation where I feel like, okay, this is a planned thing. Like, I want to go get one now, and I want that. Like,
yeah,
you know, like in my near future, I see some traveling coming, like, you know, maybe go to Europe and maybe do like a little trip around the US. I ordered a Cybertruck.
Okay.
And I have plans when I actually get this thing. I get the Cyber Beast, which is like 1,100 horsepower or something like that.
Wow.
I'm going to get the camping attachment for it. And I just have plans. I'm just like, I want to go up and down California. I want to see Monterey. I want to see the sequoias. Maybe I'll go even further north. You know, I haven't really explored north of like San Francisco.
Okay.
And I just want to check it out. You know, I've flown all over the place. I've like stopped in Seattle and stopped at. I was in San Francisco for a day. I bought my Lamborghini in San Francisco actually, but
So you just chose to pay super high taxes on it, or
on the Cybertruck?
No, on the Lambo.
Oh, the Lambo? No, I didn't pay. I didn't pay any tax, dude. I didn't buy it. My company in Montana bought it, and they bought it from the leasing company that owned it prior to me, which they had a lease with a chiropractor out in California. So when I bought this car, dude, I got it for a song. I've owned this car for like 8 years. I paid $84,000 for it. Back then, it was worth, you know, well into the hundreds.
Wow.
The chiropractor's getting divorced, so he just wants rid of it. I'm kind of young and dumb at the time still. I had a bright orange backpack, and I thought it would be a great idea to just pay cash for this thing because the guy's in a divorce and he wants cash. So I put 84 grand in my orange backpack. I get on a flight. I fly into Oakland and not San Francisco, and I get on the BART subway with this bright orange backpack with all this cash. And I got people surrounding me that don't look like they're such good people, and I'm just like, you know, just play it cool, whatever. Right. Pretend all I have is in here is water, you know. And I finally made it to his office, and I was surprised because he took horrible pictures of this car and put it online, like blurry, and you'd think that it has 100,000 miles on it. This was the cleanest Lamborghini I had ever seen at that time. It's Ithaca Verde or Verde Ithaca, which is like the bright green color. And he had it freshly washed for me. He said he put a Kevlar clutch in it, and the interior smelled like a brand new car. And I was like, dude, I just came up. Yeah. You know, like, it's really nice.
That's awesome. Yeah,
I still have it today. I could sell it for at least $100,000 today.
Wow.
8 years later.
What year is it?
It's an 05.
Okay.
Yeah. Almost a classic.
Never even know, dude. Like, even going in there, I'm always like, I was always, because I think you were gone for a while. It was like dusty when I had come up. I'm like, who owns this Lamborghini that's just like, it's just kind of sitting there. They're not even driving it. And then meanwhile, yeah, you're the guy. That's crazy though. Just, and so what was the reason? So explain to me, like, with the Montana company buying it in California, like how you kind of got around the taxes.
So because it was a lease, I believe the lease had to be paid off, and I would have had to pay taxes on the portion of the lease that wasn't paid off yet, even though this private party owned it. Because in Nevada, you can register something private party, and you don't have to pay tax as long as it's from another private party. But because it was a lease, I had to pay tax. So I was like, okay, like in Montana, they don't have sales tax. And so what I did was I just was like, okay, well, I'm going to, you know, have everything drawn up. I have to pay the car off for the guy. And then the guy's going to send a letter to the leasing company letting them know what's going to happen. Hey, selling my car. Here's the person, da-da-da. Here, you know, 3-way email. And dude, honestly, it felt sketch. So sketch. Like, this company's name was like Premier Financial Solutions or something like that. I'm like, oh my God, like, not the best looking website. And I'm just like, I'm totally getting scammed here, right? You know, the car is cheap, but I got the keys, I got the car, I left the cash, I got, you know, bill of sale, I got all this stuff.
Did you meet the guy, or you just?
I met the guy. I met the guy.
Okay.
He owned a chiropractor clinic. Like, everything was checking out, but it was just weird. Yeah. It was weird.
How did you find this guy? Like, he had a listing, or?
He put it on eBay, and he just had horrible pictures and a terrible listing.
Yeah.
And I think he wanted like $100,000 or something. And I was like, yeah, like, I'll give you 84. And he goes, okay.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
Urgency.
All right. No problem.
Rid of it before the divorce.
Yeah. So Montana doesn't have sales tax. I called my law firm up there. They do everything for you, by the way. They, you know, they title it for you. They pay the what do you call it? They get your tabs, send it to you in the mail.
Yeah.
There's no smog required in Montana either, so you don't have to worry about smogging it.
So it has a Montana license plate,
Has a
right?
Montana license plate. And some people ask me, how is that legal? How is that legal? Every state that you drive a non-state vehicle in has different rules. The rules for Nevada are you have to take the vehicle out of the state at least once every 30 days. I own a gas station, or I did at least, in Arizona. So, okay, cool. This weekend I'm taking my Lambo to my gas station, and I'm going to go check on how everything's doing with the employees. And
Which gas station?
it was the Texaco in White Hills.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because one of my buddies, do you know Mike Rhodes?
Yeah, we owned it together.
That was
The one.
Is that like Kingman or?
It's before Kingman.
It was before
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that you guys were partners.
No, we were. We had a third partner also.
Okay.
And we bought the gas station, ran it for a few years, and then, some things I can't discuss because some things went down. But I had to make the decision to sell it, and that's what we did.
Yeah. Where'd you meet
So-
Mike?
Where did I meet Mike? You know what? Probably in DiCaprio's old condo. Honestly,
Yeah.
because we had so many mutual friends in common, and all those people were cool, and he was there.
Yeah, and he's friends with like the Fertittas, because his dad obviously built a lot of the real estate here in Vegas, and so
Yeah,
I know that he was pretty connected. Were they there, like Fertittas and people like that?
yeah. The Fertittas were hanging out there, but it wasn't the Fertittas. It was just Joe, like the Fertittas, like the big names.
Yeah. No,
They
it was
weren't
it was
hanging
like
around.
The kids and the sons and stuff.
Yeah,
like
it was literally just like one.
Yeah.
I think it was just
Gotcha.
Joe. So
So tell me about that. So
Yeah.
DiCaprio had a unit in Panorama you guys were partying in.
I think that part of the marketing strategy for Panorama was it's hip, it's cool, it's new. Let's maybe give away a couple condos to celebrities. I don't know, but I think we were supposed to have Pamela Anderson, Leonardo DiCaprio, and some other celebrities. I never really saw them around the place, but I know that these units, this one in particular, I was told belonged to Leo. So, and it was a rental property.
And so who lived there?
Oh, my friends did. They rented it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
They were
yeah.
renting it. Okay.
They were renting it. They
So you
probably
guys-
paid good money for it. But yeah, it was a
You had some good parties up
really
there.
good spot. Oh, we partied all the time in our 20s. Yeah, definitely.
I think you were telling me back then, you guys were you use Bitcoin and stuff
Yeah,
to.
that's funny because I was
make
just
some-
thinking it and you said it. I was like, should I tell him about, Silk Road and how a couple of the guys in these parties had thousands of Bitcoin. And I won't name names, but there was some people, one person had, I think, 3,000 or 5,000 Bitcoin. And eventually, when it appreciated, he sold it all and he bought a plane.
Wow.
And I'm sure everybody has their own regrets, just like I do. That was an unfortunate, thing. Yeah.
Did you have some at the time?
Oh, yeah, I had some. I had a few hundred, and I held on to them for a while. And that was like my left pocket money, like my risky money. Like, okay, cool, I'm going to put 10 grand into Bitcoin when it was like $200 each,
Yeah.
right? And I was making good money at the time, so I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
I took that money and I was going to get into, the growing business. And I hired with some friends, some people to do gardening work for us. And they decided that they just wanted to keep the money and run away. I could have turned that, the 10 grand that I had, I ended up selling 43 Bitcoin for about $17,000 or $18,000. That paid for some dirt. That paid for some tomatoes, and some other things. And the gardener just took off and ran with the money, and I lost 43 Bitcoin because of that.
What would that be worth today?
I don't know. What's 43 times 70,000?
A lot.
2.8 million.
Yeah.
Yeah. This guy ran away. It cost me $2.8 million had I held, which
Sure. Probably
know,
would have sold it along the way, or
maybe. I sold some
Some of
here.
it.
I sold some there.
yeah.
I
all
sold some
relative.
to a friend just over the counter. He needed it like 5 Bitcoin or something, and
Yeah.
it was like $3,000. And I was like, okay, cool.
And back then, how did you hold Bitcoin? It wasn't how it is now.
Self-custody. I always self-custody my
What
own
does that
Bitcoin.
mean?
You have to have like your own cold wallets.
Yeah.
Don't put your Bitcoin on exchanges. Don't put your Bitcoin on exchanges. Get it off of Coinbase after you buy it. Like, I've lost so much Bitcoin because I trusted some of these third parties. The whole FTX thing with Sam Bankman-Fried, I had some Bitcoin appreciating and earning interest for me in like Celsius and FTX, and it was spread across a lot of these different places. I was just getting my 3 to 5% a year, and I intended to take all those gains, what do you call it, compound it, and then when I pulled it all out, pay all my taxes on it. Well, these guys all went upside down. Oh, we lent out your Bitcoin, and we got like FTT or FTX token from FTX, and it's all worthless now.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Thank you. Like, that's how I lost a good amount of my Bitcoin that I had left. So,
So did that just kind of like nail in the coffin for you, like kind of PTSD? I'm not going to go back in, or do you still believe in?
Oh, I believe in it.
Yeah.
I definitely believe in it, but I feel like making money trading crypto for me is really hard. I'd rather just buy it, sit on it, and not look at it. Mainly for me, it's because of the fees. Your fees when you trade crypto is the cheapest I think I've seen is like 0.15% plus the spread. And that's on, like your coins on like, say, like Gemini or Coinbase Pro or some of these more professional platforms. Yeah. But dude, if you're buying Bitcoin on PayPal or on Square or one of those platforms and then you're selling it, you're losing like 4 to 5% every time each way.
Oh, it's a lot of money.
You round trip that thing 20 times and they took all of your money.
Especially like when things are hot and the market's like, oh, the market's up and Ethereum's up, Bitcoin's up.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I want to take profits. That's when like the gas fees and everything are at the highest.
Yeah.
And it's like you have to, then it's like sometimes not even worth it. Sometimes you can't even pull it out. Like,
yeah.
I took a pretty big hit on a bunch of different coins. Like, it's just risky. It's just different than investing in the stock market when you have an actual company with financials that like have earnings and have data from years and years and years versus a coin that has a white letter that, what they're going to do. And, it sounds promising, but like I've lost tens of thousands of dollars on just like, when I had money to spend, just kind of like, oh, let me buy this, let me buy that. I think the biggest loss was this coin called Strong Coin.
I haven't even heard of that.
Exactly. Well, I can tell you one thing: it's not strong; it's weak.
Yeah.
It was a node, and so it's basically like, oh, you have these nodes, and they're helping confirm transactions on the blockchain, and for every node you have, it's going to produce this many coins.
Yeah.
And at the time, that coin was at $1,000, right? And so you had to buy 10 coins to get one node. So I think the first node that I bought,
it's a Ponzi scheme is what it
was
sounds
10
like.
grand. Yeah. It wound up, long story short, basically they wound up changing the rules, like the nodes. At first it was like, okay, it was generating them. It was generating coins and I cashed out some of them. I'm like, okay, this is actually working. Then they changed it to where you couldn't, one node was limited to how many coins it could produce. So I had like 5-6 nodes and it was going. And then it was like, oh, this one's already hit the max it can produce, so it was just useless at that point.
You can't resell it. Like, it could have been an NFT. The node could be an NFT, and you could sell it to somebody.
They did that. They did have that, and that was one of the reasons I liked it, and I bought it. It was like, okay, it's an asset as well if I want to sell it down the line. But no, now that it's hit its capacity, completely worthless. The stocks, or not stock, but the coin is at, $10 now. Like, it was a complete scam and
so
scheme.
many of them.
So now, like, I just kind of, I've got some that are more, Ethereum and things like that are more stable, I would say.
You can get a node on Ethereum too. I think it's like 32 ETH, and you can go stake with it.
Okay.
I kind of lost a lot of interest in crypto. Okay. Like, I used to mine, dude. I mined Dogecoin in like 2014, like 3 months after it came out. Like,
that's crazy.
I had like 500,000 Dogecoin I mined. You know what it was worth back then? I think I sold it for like $1.50 worth of Litecoin. You know what I mean?
That's
like,
crazy.
This is like.
And what did Doge wind up getting to? Like,
did Doge hit like 75 cents a few years ago.
Yeah.
When Elon Musk was on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
That was like the Pico, you know, like.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that, because like that's kind of like what's happening right now is like some stuff happens in the media, and people that don't really know anything about investing are just kind of dumping their money into things, you know, like Dogecoin is just, it's nothing. It literally is worth nothing.
Yeah.
So now let's talk about GameStop. Like, you know, GameStop's a legitimate business as a company, but
Yep.
you know, tell me about like what's happening with it. You've been heavily invested the last week or so. Like, what can you tell me?
So, give you a little background on GameStop, and my involvement in GameStop was back in 2020. Wall Street Bets only had like maybe 1 million people, probably less. I was one of those million. Doesn't make me feel special. I'm one in a million. I know. So there was a couple people that I followed. Now remember, this is in the dead center of pandemic. You can't go outside. How am I making money? I'm doing my healthcare company and I'm trading. In the dead center of COVID, you have tons of people getting involved with like Robinhood trading and just trading options and all this good stuff. And on Wall Street Bets, there was 2 people that really stood out to me. And one was a guy named Deep Fucking Value, and he just had a very like planned out. How do you say it? Like he would take a screenshot of his portfolio and post it at like every Friday at like 5 p.m. or something. You would see, you know, update GameStop, and it would show I own 10,000 shares or 20,000 shares or whatever, and they were like $3 a share back then. He also had options contracts. I didn't understand them at the time. I was new to contracts. I never played with them. They're very risky, right? So I followed him, and every time he would post something like bullish on GameStop. GameStop has tons of value. It's undervalued. Like he would say all these things. And the haters, oh my God, the haters would just come out of the woodworks. You're going to lose all your money. Remind me in 3 months when this idiot loses everything. You know, your wife is going to leave you. Like the most negative stuff that you can think of that happens on social media. No. Well, eventually the narrative started to catch on that GameStop was a company with, let's just call it 10 million shares, but 13 million shares were short. So if you could acquire 10 million shares, there's 3 million shares now that need to get out contractually in order to close their position. And they have expiration dates on their short. Because when you're borrowing shares from somebody, you have to pay interest on it over time. And that interest rate changes over time too, based on how expensive the stock is and whatnot. So the theory that he had was, you know, if this company can just continue to make it and survive, and, you know, it gets a renewed interest, the share value is going to go up. When the share value goes up, the people that are short are going to lose and have to buy back shares to cover. Mm-hmm. If they go to buy back the shares and they're not there, they're going to have to pay $3. Nope. $5. Nope. $10. Nope. It could be $1,000 a share. It could be infinity, because the shares just aren't there for sale. If someone or a community or whatever can acquire that 10 million shares that actually exist.
Yeah.
So then it was discovered that these people were shorting without actually even borrowing the shares anymore. So it's called naked shorting. Like, I'm just going to bet against the stock, and I don't actually have the stock to back it up. I have nothing. I'm just betting against it. And people started to learn that, and then you get the hive mind of Wall Street Bets that figured out, dude, if we all buy this stock, and we love GameStop, you know, we're all millennials, and we got money now, and we have nothing to do. It's the pandemic, so everybody just started buying GameStop. And I was sitting there I had like 50,000 shares, you know, between like options contracts and my shares itself. And I was like, okay, I'm listening to this guy. He's got like 200,000 shares or something crazy. And then I started tuning into like the earnings calls, and I just was not happy with it. And I was like, man, maybe the people that are shorting this stock are right. This company's garbage. So I wrote like this thesis. I put it into like a GameStop subreddit, and I exited my position. And I, not even kidding, maybe 2 to 4 weeks later, definitely 4 weeks later, that stock shot up to like $45. And I was like, I was in for $3, and I had a lot of shares. And I was like, oh my God, I just left hundreds of thousands of dollars on the table. And then from $45, it went up to like $380. And I was just like kicking myself even more. I was like, that's like a 200x
Yeah.
on my $3. And I don't know, man. Like I watched it. I bought back in when it was like around $45. It went up to the 380. I sold it at like 190, 170. So I did make triple my money because I'm very in tune with the stock and what's going on. It dropped back down to the $45 mark again. After I sold, I bought back in. And then it went back up. And I sold. And then it went back down. And I decided, I'm out. So while I could have made the money off the original $3 that I sold at like 13, I did buy back in at 45. Got it up to the 180, sold it. Got it back at 45. Got it up to like maybe 100 or 110, sold it. So I made money along the way. And just catching these trends is kind of like really important to me and how I can actually make money. Now, I feel like I might have gotten off topic a little bit there. What was, we have a core question.
Well, that kind of explains like how you got into GameStop originally a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Sounds like you made some good money on it. Not as much as you could have if you just held from the beginning, but
yeah.
Now fast forward, you know, to this week, 2024, like what's going on with GameStop? What's your position and what should people do or shouldn't do?
Yeah. It's just as complicated as it was before, but in the last 3 years, a lot has been discovered. Since then, the community at Wall Street Bets has grown from about 1 million to like 14 million people. And GameStop is why. GameStop is hands down why so many people got into Wall Street Bets. And it was crazy. Like Reddit at the time, like shut Wall Street Bets down, and then they had to come back. And then like it was crazy. We've learned that you can directly register your shares with the direct register of GameStop. It's a company called ComputerShare. And what you'll do is you can buy your shares and transfer it to ComputerShare. You have to have the physical cash to be able to afford the stock. So you can't use margin or anything like that. So if a share right now it could be anything right now. It's probably $22 right now.
Yeah.
$22, you get 100 shares, $2,200 worth. Move it over to ComputerShare. I think you can even buy directly on ComputerShare now, but they will directly register it and they'll record that you're the owner on their docket. And now there's a verified list of all the owners that have registered that they own that share and they haven't sold. And if they sell, it comes off, So you have an accurate depiction of who owns what. More than 25% of the free float of shares is directly registered with ComputerShare. That's a lot. That is a lot. And all we're talking about is just like essentially Wall Street Bets people.
Yeah, average.
Super strong people.
Yeah.
For every one person, how many people out there have not directly registered their share? Because that is a process. You know what I'm saying? This is like mail-in rebate.
Yeah.
When you get a $10 mail-in rebate, for every one person that sends that thing in, how many don't?
9.
Yeah. Let's call it 9.
Yeah.
So if you have 25% that have done it and there's 9 people that didn't, do the math. Yeah. That's like 150 or 200% more shares exist probably than what's actually out there.
So what does that mean in terms of like what it's worth and the price and why it's like being driven up?
So what it's worth, I get questions a lot like, well, what does GameStop really do? And why are they such a good company? And why is the PE ratio 1,000? And I tell people, I go, it's not about that. It's about the shares, and it's about the fact that these hedge funds are making money betting against American companies that are supposed to be successful. American companies produce taxes, they bring entertainment, like they exist for a reason. You've got these hedge funds that are out there betting against the American dream. And because that, people have kind of like they look at hedge funds poorly, like greedy people. The community started just buying up all the shares again, and I'll tell you why. It's that the guy, the deep fucking value guy. He goes by the name Roaring Kitty now, so we'll just use that going forward.
Yeah.
At the end of like 2021, he disappeared, and he did it with a goodbye. He's like, hey, I stood in front of the SEC or the Department of Justice or whatever, Congress, explained myself. I'm not a cat. He said, I'm not a cat. It was really funny. And then he posted on Wall Street Bets. He just said, like, my GameStop position, final post. Since that day, gone. Like, just completely gone. Well, the reason I started getting back into GameStop was I started seeing signs of life because I have monitors. My monitors are set up on accounts that I think can bring value if they post something. So like X, right? Like I will get notifications if he ever posts on X. And one thing I noticed was he liked a post. Like maybe May 3rd, I'm guessing somewhere in that area. Because that's when I started kind of like really piquing my ears. And I go, what? He liked a post. And I looked at the last post he liked. It was 3 years ago. I was like, this dude's coming back. This dude's active. And how can I lose right now? The stock price has only slowly been going down a little bit, and it's starting to tick up right now. Maybe it was up like 20 or 30% in the last week, which I was like, oh, interesting. So I saw that he liked a post, and then I also looked at the volume on the actual stock itself, and you started seeing daily volume go from 700,000 shares traded, 850,000 shares traded, 7 million shares traded.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, something's up. Someone's out there buying a lot of shares, and it's unusual from what I saw. You got this dude showing up. He hasn't said anything. He hasn't posted, but he liked something. It just shows that he's active. And then you got volume spiking. I thought that was unusual enough for me to go, and I bought a few thousand shares. After that, I was like, okay, I'm speculating this, like I have a margin account so I can borrow and then buy stock on loan. And the margin was pretty good at the time. It was 50% or something like that. So I can take my other stock and, put it against that. Then I started to just kind of look around, and I started making my posts public. I was just like, tin hat time. Like it was like last Friday. I wrote a post on Twitter. I said, tin hat time. I think, Roaring Kitty is back. I think he hasn't said anything. And I think that he's the one responsible for this volume. And I think that the hedge funds never covered their short position. And that was me basically saying, I still think that there's more shares out on loan than exist. He's seeing something, and he knows something that is going to change the landscape of where this stock is going. That, and GameStop's profitable as of last quarter. So it's actually making enough money to continue existing.
Yeah.
So.
Has he said anything?
He posted a few days later at exactly 5 p.m. I forget what day this was, Friday or something. I caught it on my notifications on my phone. I pulled over to the side of the road, and I was like deciding, is this a really pivotal moment? Because there's a lot of people that miss him, and nobody expected him to come back. And there's not really any big news with GameStop going on right now. It was $17 a share as I pulled over to the side of the road, and I was like, this is up from $10 a share a week prior. So I'm like, this stock is up 70% in 1 week. Is this still a good time to buy? And you have a lot of people trading out there that will be like, it's up 70%. It's too expensive.
Yeah.
Bitcoin.
Right.
Oh, it was 200 and now it's 1,000. I'm not buying that.
Exactly.
It's 5x what it used to be. I'll wait for the dip. When you have an asset or you have something that's valuable, it doesn't dip. Your houses, they're not going to dip. Anybody out there that believes that housing market is going to crash right now is crazy. This is my opinion. It's a whole other topic.
Right.
So I pulled over the side of the road. I doubled my position. And I couldn't buy options, which I would have had it been market hours. But I was in the overnight market right now. So you have your market hours, then you have after hours, and then you have overnight 24/7 trading. You can't see the books, the order books in overnight trading. You don't know how much is the bid and how much is the ask. So you kind of have to look at the price and guess. There's, you can see like what is it right at this moment, but you have to like go click a couple buttons to really see deep. Yeah. Double my position, said, you know what? What's the worst that can happen? I lose 20% here because, maybe it doesn't mean anything, but I know how people are going to react. And stock went from $17 to, I think, like $30, and then it went straight up to $80, like the next trading day. So I'm sitting here looking at my account. I'm like, whoa, I just made a lot of money. This is great. And before I knew it, that $80 became $50, and I was just like, okay, this is how it acts. I took 20% off the table at some point. I invested in my IRA as well, not much, just enough. And when I doubled my money in my IRA, I sold half. So now I have shares that were free, if that makes sense.
Sure, yeah.
And that's how I like to trade. I like to make sure that I always take something off the table, because the last thing you want to do is be rich and then be poor, But yeah, he started posting memes like crazy, and he's posting every day for the last 3-4 days.
Is he just posting memes, or is he
just memes?
Okay, so he's not saying anything.
He ain't saying nothing
yet,
but he's saying something with these memes.
Sure.
Like today, he released a meme with a weird sounding audio track, and I will tell you how cryptic this stuff is. And this is what the people who aren't in tune don't see. He posted something, just a clip of somebody kind of playing with the radio knob or something like that in their car.
Yeah.
And the sound was really funky sounding. And then it went to another clip. If you decrypt the audio and you look at the screen, you know how audio you can visualize audio?
The waves, yeah.
You visualize audio. Can I show this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to show this to you. Because
this is... always pull it up, too.
Yeah, pull it up. I'm going to go to my history. I want people to see this. So if you want to search that right there. Mr. Robot. And throw it on the screen. People are going to go crazy, I think.
Here, what I'll do is just send that to me, and then when we make the whatever clip, we can rip it and throw it up. But show it to me.
All right, so you're gonna hear a weird noise. See how it visualized it? It said, "Hang on."
He posted that?
Yeah.
That's funny.
You're listening to this meme that he posted, right, and then all of a sudden you're just like, what was that noise? Dude.
So when you slow it down, it says hang on?
No, it's not when you slow it down. It's when you open the audio an audio visualizer. So like a DJ.
It actually looks like that?
Yes.
Come on.
No, I'm not kidding. Dude, I'm telling you, that's for real.
And it was like a cat sound, too.
The sound is just whatever sound it makes from being that way. But yeah, man, it's crazy.
So obviously he's being subtle. He's letting people know, hey, I'm here, but I'm not gonna say too much. But there's something there. After being ghost for, what'd you say, 3 years, making a lot of money, making a lot of disruption. I think the documentary came out and everything like that. I think. Helped me understand it too, because I at the time I was investing more in what we were talking about before, like Boeing and airlines and cruise ships and hotels. And at the time I didn't have much money. I think 10 grand. I put it in the market. I turned it into 30 grand that year. But GameStop was happening, and I just kind of stayed away from it because I didn't know that much.
Smart.
But all I knew was it's up, it's down, it's up, it's down, and to me it's just it was just risky.
Yep.
But so now 3 years later, he's subtly letting people know, hey, I'm still here and I'm still looking at it. I'm still watching it.
Well, and I think it's really unique how he's starting to send these cryptic messages, if you will. What do you think the age profile is of somebody that works at a hedge fund?
I'd say.
Is it young?
No, I'd say it's
Are
probably.
they on TikTok?
Nope.
Are they DJs? You know what I'm saying? Like, that message was meant for his audience. He's like,
Sure.
I know that I have a hive mind right now, and if I put this out, they're going to find it.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then he's also has, we believe it's him. No one knows, but there's a TikTok account out there. And the TikTok account will change its bio. And it says, yesterday it said, I see you, X. Like, I see you, X. Everybody on X.
Yeah.
You know, he'll respond to Jim Cramer on there and whatnot, but the messages are in the bio, and they disappear. Just like Snapchat, 24 hours gone, you know.
Well, what I think is cool about him, at least from what I'm getting from it, is like he's a guy with core values. I think that, he is, even just seeing the documentary, like obviously what he was doing with a purpose. Like what the hedge funds were doing is, I don't know, it's not right. That, like you said, they're betting against an American company to fail. And they do things where they pump up the stock and then, get people to buy, and then they sell and they're shorting it and they're doing all these things where, they're making money hand over foot. And I think like you said, he might be seeing something that, hey, these hedge fund guys are still doing something that might not be right.
Yeah.
His purpose is like to stand up for what he believed in and to help, the average person make some money too. So I think that that's cool for him to be subtly behind the scenes, but possibly coming back out, hopefully with some more information for everybody.
It's a real David and Goliath, and I ask some of my smarter friends who, they don't get rich quick, they get rich for sure. The 10 to 12% year friends that have a business and they get cash flow, and I love that for them. I had that, when I was younger. And I just kept getting beat down. I had my first affiliate company. I was making great money. I made my first $1 million when I was 19. Who does that? I came from nothing. And then that business went on for a couple of years, and then all of a sudden, the government came in and I was doing promotions for online casinos, and I was just an affiliate. I was just doing marketing. And then all of a sudden, all my clients were gone, and all my money was gone, and I had to figure it all out for myself. And now I don't have that cash flow like I used to, so I turned to a lot of risk on type of things. I played poker for a while, trade stocks, options. I buy and sell things. If I can buy this and sell it for X plus Y, I'll do that. Make a little bit of extra money. So I had a point, and it's escaping me right now. But with GameStop and what's going on, it's a definite roller coaster, and I don't suggest people invest in it unless they really know what they're doing, because the psyops that goes behind the ups and the downs, like you said, they'll pump it up, get people to pay and buy at the high prices and then sell. Dude, I witnessed it with my own eyes this week, and I lost 6 figures as I was watching it go down, but it wasn't my money. I didn't cash out yet. I wrote it up, and it was on me where I was writing it down.
Yeah.
And I had to make a decision. Do I sell here? Is the plunge protection crew going to come in and start buying it back up, or who's controlling this? And then I started looking at things objectively. I started looking at the options chain. And the options chain showed that even though the stock was at $50 still, the max pain for all the options buyers, which is Wall Street Bets, all the 0 DTE, short-term options that expire tomorrow type of things, there was 140,000 contracts that were expiring today at 1 o'clock our time. And the max pain for all the people that bought those contracts was at $18, $18 to $20. I forget which one it was. Yesterday, the stock was at $30, $35. I had to make a conscious decision because I still hold shares. I have a third of my position, maybe a little more, that I started out with in our story. And I decided yesterday that I'm going to bet against GameStop. And I did it in the afternoon, and I, put a post out there, hey, I'm short now. And people look at me and they go, you were just all about GameStop a few days ago. I'm a trader. I take news and I take information and I'm allowed to change my mind. I saw that the max pain was at $18. Guess what I did? I bet against the stock at $30. So when it went down to 20, it hit today, I ended up paying $3 for the option to sell it at $30. Well, it was at 20. Okay, well, my $3 just turned into $10. I made 215% on my bet against the stock today. Even though I still hold shares, I took the loss on that.
Yeah.
But I made more money betting against it than the loss I took. So, like, that's how I am trading and making money on these things.
So you're just paying attention to the trends and paying attention, like, to the whatever the information is telling you. It's not necessarily like, is GameStop worth $30 or $20 or $100? It's more just like, what are people doing?
This is 2 UFC fighters going into a ring. And sorry, but this week, Goliath is a clear winner.
Yeah.
And I put my bet on Goliath. Next week, it's different. My bet's on the little guy. It's on David.
And now before that, like, how much were you up when it was up at the most?
Dude, it's like, this kills me. I was up a 40-foot yacht this week. And a nice one.
Yeah.
And then, at the end of the week, I could maybe afford, to rent one of the rooms in that yacht. But it happens fast. You can't count the chips that are in the pot when they're not yours. My portfolio was at its height literally 2 hours after I went to sleep. There's no way. It was an overnight trade. It was at 4:30 or 2. I went to bed at like 2:30, and then it just got bought way up at like 4:30 in the morning. And I missed it. I woke up and I was like, oh, shoot. I missed the huge move in the middle of the night. So I learned some things from this week with GameStop. I learned that the powers that be are trading outside of regular normal hours because there's less volume, so they can control the price more. There's just so many more reasons. They can control the market better. There's also, like, during trading hours, they have these things called limit up and limit down, which is they will halt the stock if the stock moves more than 5 or 10% in a span of like 10 minutes or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know exactly what it is. I forget when they halt, but like GameStop got halted like 30 times in a day, like this week.
Now, do you feel like that's from the individual consumer, or do you think that that's a hedge fund coming in and buying so much that it swings it up?
I think it's probably controlled by the hedge funds because they have the money to do it with a single click.
Yeah.
To coordinate retail buyers, individual buyers to do something it's almost impossible. Yeah. But what I think happens is that they will halt the stock one direction or another, and then it pauses for 5 minutes, 5 or 10 minutes. I think it's 5 minutes. During that 5 minutes, they will make trades over the counter, which is not shown on any of the public things. And they will make calls, they'll trade with someone else, and it won't show in the charts at all. That 5 minutes gives them an opportunity to go short or go long or take a new position. So what they're really doing is it's like timeouts in football.
Yeah.
Except for you can't see. They take timeouts whenever they want to, and they have an unlimited number of it, and all they have to do is pay for it. I sell this many shares, I get 5 minutes. I buy this many shares, I get 5 minutes. And I know what it's going to be after that. I know that if I sell 100,000 shares and I have 500,000 shares, that during that halt I can go short, and I know I have 500,000 more shares to sell, so I'll do that, and then I'll make my money over here on the options contracts or the going short. You know what I mean? So
basically what I'm hearing you say, because they hold such a big position when they're buying, they can swing the stock up or down no matter whatever direction they want, up or down. And then when they do that, they're able to say, okay, let's say, they sold, a whole bunch of stock. Then they've got time to make a position like shorting it.
Yeah.
And then when time kind of unfreezes,
Yep.
time's back in, the stock goes down, they shorted it during that time, and then they
Exactly.
make even more money.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
And the shorting is a privilege to them that other people don't have. They can go to the OTC market and they can look at blocks of shares and, okay, I'm going to buy this block of 10,000 shares at the bid price right now, not at the market price, which has spread, right, up and down. On top of that, Jack, there's also the volatility factor. That's the volatility, the ability to move the stock so much is based on how much of the float there is too. If you have a company that's worth $1 billion and there's only $100 million worth of stock, you're controlling the whole value of that whole company with just 10% of it being traded. And that's common for tons of companies. Like there's no company out there that I'm aware of that has all their stock out there floating around to be traded. Stocks are locked up for C-level executives.
Sure.
Stocks are locked up for pensions. They're locked up for employment, stock plans, like all these things. And even with like the DRS that I was telling you about earlier, the directly registered shares, that's like locked up. Those people aren't selling that stock. So the more people have their shares on lockdown, the less there is to get traded. And when there's only so much to get traded, the price fluctuation just goes wild. And that's part of the reason why you see these price fluctuations in GameStop.
Yeah.
Earlier today, GameStop dropped. Like I said, I bet against it due to some news that happened at 4 a.m. today, which was the CEO of GameStop, Ryan Cohen, said we're not issuing, but we're releasing a press release and filing that we reserve the right to issue 45 million new shares. And whenever a company does that, it means that they're raising money, and they're raising money to pay for something. It could be debt. It could be we're going to grow. It could be an acquisition or a merger, which is, I believe, what they said this morning was for.
Okay.
But yeah, when you do that and you introduce more shares, your float increases. So you're going to have less volatility, more likely. But the shareholders don't like it because you're trading equity for debt. It's a debt equity swap, basically, is what it's called. So.
Well, I feel like, I feel like for me, like I'm just gonna kind of watch it and see what happens. You know, it's just if you don't, because I guess what I'm getting from is like you obviously have a lot of knowledge, you have a lot of insight. Like if you don't know anything about it, you shouldn't just be going in there and buying stock because oh my god, like GameStop is up today, buy. Like
you're gonna be reactive.
It's an easy way to lose a lot of your money, and especially if you don't know what you're doing, you probably don't have a lot of money to begin with, like to be putting, to be investing. Like if you don't know what you're doing, you should probably stick with some solid companies, that have been around for a long time and go for more of a long term. I mean, it's just different types of investing. You're more riskier, like you said, because you've done some long term things in the past, and now you're okay with hey, if I lose this money, I lose this money. It's kind of like when I go gamble. Like if I go gamble and play blackjack, like I'm not there trying to win money. I'm there to have fun, and I know if I win money, it's a benefit. If I lose it,
it's poker for me now. Yeah. I want to go have fun. I'm going to go play some poker.
Yeah.
I would probably do the opposite of what you said. This stock is up. I'm going to buy. I would probably buy on dips for strong stocks. Like if Facebook goes down or Amazon goes down, I would buy on dips. But there's one caveat. If they have an earnings release and they blow it out of the water, like Nvidia has been going up and up and up and up, that's a time where I would buy, because if it's making higher highs than it has in the past, it does what I call it. The stock is breaking out. Once it breaks that higher high, you're back in price discovery mode. And price discovery is, okay, this stock used to be 170. That was the highest it's ever been. Now it just broke 175.
Yep.
It's probably going to 190. Could go to 200. You don't know where the top is, So that's another little piece of advice.
Yeah.
Not financial advice, by the way. None of this.
None. Yeah, I think what I did like back then when I was telling you in COVID when I didn't invest ever before that. And so I took like 10 grand, tripled it. For me, I was literally just looking at the trends, looking at the data, and looking at, hey, there's these companies that obviously are struggling big time right now that are completely shut down. Stock prices are way down because people are, what happens is things happen. People get scared. Let me take my money out. Let me be safe. And for me, I'm like, the all-time highs weren't even close to where the stock prices were. So I'm like, eventually these are going to get back up there. Like big corporations like Boeing and, I think one that I made some good money on was like Red Rock Resorts.
I love that one.
And MGM, like, buying those low, that those are stable companies that are going to get back up there. To me, that's like what I've kind of shifted into is like, it's really just, you got to look at it and you got to look at the data. Don't just read the trends and don't just like listen to what you see online. Actually look at it, because you do both. You're looking at trends. You're looking at, hey, what's kind of the media doing? But now let me inspect what I expect. Let me inspect, what's the trading volume, and what are the highs and the lows, and what's it been doing the last 24 hours? Like, you're not just
unusual.
Yeah, exactly. So you're looking at a lot of different factors of it. And so I think that's a good strategy you're taking.
I have long-term holdings too. Like, I only gamble with a portion of my portfolio, and I usually just use margin against my long-term portfolio to make those plays. This week I went max margin. I had not much extra money, and I was close to getting margin called, so I had to like hedge back a couple other positions I had. But like, dude, I have Nvidia, I have Boeing. I have 160 different stocks, and I have like just a little bit of each one. And I think that's a great way to invest.
I think too, like, invest in things that you like and that you like believe in. Like Nvidia, I think is a cool one. I own Nvidia as well, because of AI. Like, I use AI in my business every single day, and Nvidia is on the forefront of that stuff, and it's one of the big players. And I just think AI is going big places in the next 5-10 years to where the technology is really what they're doing. And to me, it's a no-brainer. If you believe, I believe in that. If you believe in something, like, put some money in. Now you're an owner in that. I'm an owner in Nvidia. I'm an owner in a number of different technologies that are going to be here to stay. Apple, Google, big companies like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I guess to touch on that point, since we have an audience and the audience might want to, put some money at something.
Yeah.
One thing I'd like to say is we've all basically been trained in our culture to just, you work and you take some money, you put it in your IRA, you put it into the S&P 500, you work, you just keep doing that, and then you can take that and retire. Basically, even if there's dips on the S&P 500, because society is trained to just take it and it's the safest, the S&P 500 will never go down more than maybe a year or two or whatever, but then you're just buying the dip, and more money will just keep going into it just forever.
Yeah.
And money becomes less and less valuable as far as purchasing power. So why not own the shares? So if people are looking for a safe investment, the S&P 500 is probably about as safe as you can get. For me, I like to pick and choose my stocks. Like I said, I got 160 of them, and then something will jump out at me and I'll hit it.
Yeah.
Here's a good example during COVID. People couldn't go out. You know where they didn't go out to? They didn't go out to the movie theaters. So when you had news for the movie theaters, there was one time when I saw a press release come out from, it's like Amazon or Disney or something like that, that said, we're no longer going to release our full feature films and make them exclusive for the movie theaters. You can stream them directly from day one on Amazon. And I was like, oh, shoot. The movie theaters are just going to dump. And within seconds of reading that, I went to my portfolio. I went to my account. I bet against Cinemark. I bet against AMC. And I put, it wasn't much, $1,000 or maybe $2,000 or something as a bet against it. 3 minutes later, I was out of my position and I tripled my money.
Wow.
I make base hits like that all the time.
So just paying attention into the information. I mean, like You know, most
Yep.
like basic standard rules of thumb is buy on the rumors, sell on the news, and
Yep.
a lot of the stuff you're looking at, it's like a lot of people are buying on the news. Like now, GameStop is where it's at. Like
They're late.
they're late. You
They're
got to pay
By the
attention
time
early.
it gets to their ears, they are
Yeah.
so late.
Yeah.
Dude, May 3rd is when my ears started peaking. There was not one article. There was no one talking about it. I knew I saw it first.
Yeah.
And when he tweeted,
Well, thanks for telling me.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
when he tweeted, I can look. Twitter shows you how many views, how many likes, how many comments. 1,500 views. I said only 1,500 people have seen this tweet
Wow.
or post, whatever they
Yeah.
call it on X now. And I said, I'm early. I know I'm early because I have the data that just showed me I'm within the first 1,500 people.
You got to just take action.
Took
on it right
action.
away.
They say luck is the meeting of opportunity and being prepared.
Yeah.
That's luck. I had both. You know, I had an opportunity that just presented itself, and I was already prepared. Cash was in there. It was in my hand. I can trade on my phone. You don't have to be at a laptop or an office anymore. You know, go wherever I want to and trade.
Yeah.
So that's how that happened.
Yeah. We'll see if Roaring Kitty has anything to say, you know, here in the next few days, but it keeps it interesting. It keeps I think it's cool because it has opened up, because I think a lot of people have then gotten educated after being in a position like that, and like that being their first time investing. Like it gets them in the game at least, and I think that that's cool, because before you know, people just weren't in it because they don't really know much about it. They think, you know, I don't know how to do this. I don't really know anything, but it almost like makes it an even playing field for people, college students, anyone that has, you know, there's even teenagers and kids, you know, who are investing and stuff like that, which I think that's a cool kind of benefit that, you know, result that came after the fact.
Yeah. And you would think that people would learn. So a lot of people weren't even there. I got called like basically like a boomer this week for re-entering the GameStop Reddit atmosphere and just saying, "Hey, I'm back. I still hold tons of shares, you know, like, and I just want to let everybody know that I'm proud of all the work you guys have done and all the stuff, you know, research that has been done on this stock." And then someone was like, you know, this has hello fellow kids vibes to it. And I'm like, yeah, like I'm 40, you know, I can't even apologize for that anymore, you know, but it's interesting, you know, and the people that were there should have learned some lessons. And one of the big ones is the second most traded meme stock is AMC. I hate it. And everybody asks me why. And I go, because the CEO, I think his name is like Adam or Aaron Adams or something like that. Every single time that there's a spike in that stock, he like rushes to the office, goes to his lawyer and says, we need to raise money now. We need to take and create more shares, and we need to sell the shares. And what that does every time is it pushes the stock price down. To me, AMC is like, I would never invest in AMC ever again, because every time that it goes up, he pushes it back down. So he needs to go. And people don't learn their lesson. They just like to get beat up, where GameStop hasn't done that.
Yeah, you know? I mean, I think nowadays people look for the easy way to make money, the quick way to make money. And, you know, like you said, like a lot of this is risky because you know it's risky. But at the end of the day, you know, because you've built several businesses, that it takes time to build a business and to have success. Like it doesn't just kind of happen overnight. Like this is kind of things that you're able to do because you've created income, created, you know, cash flow and assets that allow you to take risk and things like this. Other people, they want to get their start in making some quick money with this. Like you've gotta understand that that's not a reality. A lot of people, you know, there's definitely people, the smart ones, who make money in this, but there's also a lot of people that lose a lot of money by taking that risk. At the end of the day, like, go focus on something that you can build yourself, that you can kind of, you know, you're betting on yourself, and so to speak.
When you can look at trading, money doesn't matter, like poker. Put the chips on the table. This money that's on the table, it's not paying for my food. It's not paying for my rent. It's not paying for my bills. I can make it again in a month or 2 or 3 months or whatever risk tolerance I have. That's when you have the best mindset. You have a no lose mindset. I don't care if I lose this, and that gives you power. Like in a poker game, gives you power. I'm all in. Okay, the next guy needs to pay for his bills tomorrow because it's the end of the month and they're on the table. He ain't calling me. I don't care how strong his hand is.
Yep.
I know that. And guess what? Because I don't care about the money, I just took advantage of that. And that's how the hedge funds are seeing retail buyers, retail investors. They're uneducated. They're following, some kid. He's 20 years old, and his family is telling mom and dad and all these people at Easter dinner or whatever, a birthday to buy some GameStop, and they listen. No one knows, But there are people. The people that are on Reddit know. The super stonk people, they know. Those are the smart people who are probably going to make it.
Yeah.
It's just that they need to kind of grasp what PsyOps is. And PsyOps is what you said earlier, the pump and dump scheme. They know when you're going to buy. They know when you're going to sell. They know based on data and AI when the most likely time is to make certain moves. You have to be smart enough to go against the grain, which is what I've done.
Yeah.
So my position right now is I still hold a third of the shares that I had. And then I have an options trade for next week where if the stock ends above $50 on Friday, I have a $20,000 bet on it. That $20,000 will turn into $300,000. That's my current bet right now, just on the stock.
So if it hits 50, you have an option to buy it at what price?
I have a, how do I say it? I have a debit spread option, which is I bought the $30 call and I sold the $50 call. So for me to buy the 30 means that I have the right to buy my shares at 30. And then the 50, when I sold the 50, it means I sold somebody else the right to buy at 50. Okay. So above 50, I don't make any more money. Below 30, I lose my 20 grand.
Yeah. Completely. Right?
Completely. Yeah. But in options trading, you have what's called time value. And think of it like an insurance premium. It amortizes over time, and it gets either more valuable or less valuable. And that's how you create leverage. So that's my bet for next week. So, yeah.
All right. Well, maybe I'll throw some into that. You put a post too, like talking about creating an app that shows like different investors' portfolios and holdings and positions and things like that.
Yeah. I've always wanted to create an app that is my take on a smart investing app. And I've thought about it being like a social app. It would be similar to one that I use that a friend of mine has created, but it would be my own take on it and my own style and my own ideas. The one I use right now is called After Hours. Okay. Remember earlier in the conversation I mentioned I followed 2 people on Wall Street Bets before there was a million people. One was DFV, who we talked about, and the other guy is named Sir Jack a lot. And this guy has a cool thesis where he will take 100% of, maybe not 100%, but he'll take his money in his portfolio and he'll only buy shares. So he'll buy shares of Alibaba and then it'll go up 20%, whatever. He'll exit and then he'll do that with another one. And he picks and chooses. I really like his thesis and how he does it. He created the After Hours app, which is probably going to be pretty good for inspiration. I'd love to ask him, if maybe we want to work together and share some ideas, and we could both independently have our apps and at the same time maybe work together on creating some cool stuff.
Yeah. There's a cool one that I think it's mostly crypto, but it's called like Inolvio, I think, like something like that. But yeah, I'll have to send it to you because it's a similar concept of it just shows like you can follow different traders and they post their positions and things like that, but it's mostly crypto. So
you can copy trade on crypto so easily because it's on the blockchain. It's public. Yeah. Like bots can go and be like, okay, find me the most winning trader that uses MetaMask swaps.
Yeah.
And you could potentially do that. I lost so much passion for crypto when I lost my crypto, and I've seen it all, man. I've seen the scams. I've been part of ICOs. Like I I invested 50 grand into an ICO called Rentberry, like back in like 2017. And by the time they finally got the coins to me, they were all worth zero. Jeez. And another one was Indie Token. That was like somebody here in Las Vegas locally got me to invest, I think it was 50 grand into that. They never even sent me the tokens. I could have sued them, and I probably should have sued them for not fulfilling their obligation to me. Even if their tokens were worthless, that was fraud.
Yeah.
But
what are your thoughts on Bitcoin mining?
It's a lot of work. Leave it to the big boys. We've got Mara here in town. I think they're based out of Henderson. It's a publicly traded company. If you want to mine Bitcoin, just invest in their stock. It's way easier than, carving out part of your garage and having a loud, noisy machine. And I've been there. I've done that. I mined Litecoin in Panorama, bro, in my second bedroom. And dude, electric's not cheap. You need to figure your way out to get the cheapest electric possible to be profitable. And it's going to be solar or it's going to be hydro.
Yeah.
And you're not getting hydro out here in the Las Vegas desert. You're going to get solar, but you're not going to be able to do it without your own piece of land, and you're going to need to have enough solar panels to scale.
Yeah, no, it's
I don't know if you know anything about solar.
Just a thing or two. I mean, I can tell you right now, like, you're not going to be able to produce enough electricity from the solar to even make it make sense. Like, you need your own batteries and your own
well, I want to get your take on something. Yeah. There's a solar farm, I think, south of here by, like, the Dry Lake bed or on its way to, like, California. Yep. Tell me about that. Like, could that be used for Bitcoin mining, or what is that even used for? It's so huge.
Hypothetically, it could if you can convince MV Energy. So they own that. They use that just because. So basically, in 2017, there was a bill that was passed, called the AB 405 bill. We voted on it, and basically it said that MV Energy's got to be 50% green by 2030 and 100% green by 2050. Okay. So there's like a certain amount of renewable energy that they have to produce. That big solar farm only makes up about 5% probably of what we use here in Nevada. I mean, the rest of it is all burning coal and natural gas. So that's why all the residents going solar. Yeah. Now, technically, MV Energy is taking the excess that they're using, all the energy people produce from their solar panels, all of it goes to the grid. Yeah. So MV Energy takes that power. Now they're technically abiding by the mandate, right, to produce their own green power.
Interesting.
So that's what that farm is for.
That's the excess, right? Goes to the grid?
Yeah. Well, during the day, like anything that you're using, like you're gonna use it. Okay. But then like anything else is it's really all going through your meter and going directly to the grid.
Does it rewind your meter? Like if I'm looking at my meter and I'm producing more than I'm taking, does it rewind your meter?
Like when you're sending energy to the grid, like, I mean, they don't spin anymore. Those are like the old school ones, but all the new ones are digital. But yeah, it rewinds, like, so it counts kilowatt hours. So if you send 500 during the day and then, receive 400 at night, yours is going to say negative 100 or, not negative 100, but it constantly counts from the previous cycle. So it'll see, are you in a, net for the month, or are you in a deficit where you owe the money? And so when it comes, the reason I ask about
check if you're net?
No. Okay. They give you credits.
All right.
MV Energy is.
I didn't think so.
So MV Energy is owned by Buffett. So I definitely know that. Here in Nevada, Bitcoin mining is definitely not something that would work, because cost per kilowatt hour here is like 20 cents after all the fees and everything.
It's that high now?
It's gone up. It's up 45%
Dude,
in the last 18 months.
11 to 12 cents when I was Bitcoin mining back in the day, and I could get industrial for 4 cents.
Yeah, no, it's up to base rate is around like 17 cents, but they've got all these different charges. So when you add them all up, it's 20 cents. So that's why, I mean, solar's been just popping up, more and more and more, is people's bills are going crazy. You said it to me before, like, oh, someone who's lived in their house for 11 years probably isn't going solar now. Well, they actually are, because their bills are going way up. They're up 45% since 2021.
Wow.
That's actually nuts. 2022. 18 months, they're up.
But the price of solar has stayed the same, right?
Solar's different, as there's different programs. I mean, definitely it's gone up in the sense of if you want to purchase it and do a loan, like interest rates are a lot higher and the bank charges ridiculous amount of fees. So like on a solar loan, right? The lower interest that you want for that loan, the higher the fee the bank charges you.
Of course.
So
origination fee, right? It's their risk.
But if you knew what the fees were, so on a 4.49% interest loan, which is the lowest you can get in solar nowadays, right now today, the bank is going to charge you 30 to 40% of the loan amount as a fee.
No
so
way.
If it's a $50,000 loan, they're charging you 15 to 20 grand.
All right, and I want to be a private investor. Take the banks out. Call me.
Literally, if you're the bank in the solar industry, you're making hand over fist, crazy amounts of money. Just up front, you're making 30% of your 40% of your investment back, plus you're charging the customer interest. And so they're cracking down on it more, like the government, because the solar honestly is like, it's still in its infancy. It's not very, it's pretty new. And so they're regulating on it more. They're regulating on how you can hire people. Mostly everyone's 1099 contractors. Yeah. They're regulating that because, if you have someone who's a contractor, but you tell them you got to be here every single day, these are your hours, these are your meetings, like all this stuff, they're technically a W-2 employee. And so you've got to...
You control their schedule.
Yeah, you've got to pay them, W-2 and taxes and all that stuff. And so they're cracking down. Nevada was the first state that actually cracked down on that.
Wow.
But solar is an interesting game, man. There's a lot of money to be made. I mean, you go out and sell one solar deal, you can make 10 grand tomorrow.
Of course.
So there's a lot of young guys in the industry, young entrepreneurs, people who are hungry, who want to go. Really all it takes is the grind and the hustle. You want to go out and knock on doors and talk to people, get rejected. Well, there's a lot of rewards for doing that. You can make, hundreds of thousands of dollars in a year.
Now, I have a question. You don't have to answer it on the podcast. You can tell me afterwards or not tell me at all. What would your close rate be on number of doors knocked?
Doors knocked, it'd be hard to say. I can tell you that historically our close rate has been 1 out of 5 appointments. So 20%. So if I book 5 appointments, 2 of them are not even going to show up. They're going to cancel, right?
Yeah.
A couple of them, my wife doesn't want it. You'll probably sit down with 1 or 2 of them and close one.
Do you have, so the door knockers, do you consider them as the setters?
Yeah, they're all setters.
And then you have a closer that gets on the phone or goes to the property?
To the property and sits at a table just like we're across from each other now, and they close the deal. And so, and then setup. You've got people that set their own appointments and close their own deals, and they're making 100% of the commission. That's the people that are making 10 grand on a deal.
Yeah.
Going out and just helping someone save money on their power bill without transacting anything, which I think is the most interesting part of it, is like
you can get into it for free.
You can get into it for free. That, like, most high ticket sales, if you want to make 10 grand, you're probably selling someone something for 6 figures, and you got to take that money from them. Hey, I need $100,000. You make, even 10% commission is pretty high. Most sales commissions are, a few percent, 3, 4, 5%. Like, this is a high ticket commission sales business where, hey, that high MV energy bill you got that you have to pay no matter what, I'm going to give you a cheaper one that doesn't go up 45% in 2 years like MV energy, and it doesn't cost you anything to do it.
It's easy sell.
So it really is. I think what's interesting that we're kind of pivoting right now and adapting is the Vegas market is really tough. It's saturated. There's, everyone, why not come here if you're a solar company to sell solar? There's 320 days of sun every single year.
That's great.
There's not a lot of shade. Everything, any trees that are here were planted. So it's not like you just got tons of shade and stuff like that are reducing production. So it's an ideal place for solar, which is why there's so many companies here. So everyone's been knocked on. It's tough. So what we're adapting to is we're going to be doing a lot of blitzes. So we're taking a crew up in a couple weeks to Reno. They're going to knock up there. There's just not as many people up there. Yep. Different rates, different market. I know some people that are doing it in Chicago and in Denver. So we're going to start changing up the model a little bit to where here you've got to be really, really good to get someone to even sit down with you because they've already been knocked on 50 times.
I don't think there's that many houses being sold the last year or two either, right? I mean, I don't know.
I mean, definitely not compared to what it used to be. I mean, we're doing everything. We're doing new homeowners, people that are just buying, but we're also doing, like I said before, we're knocking on the person who's lived here for 10 years because they deserve the chance to switch over to, you know, something cheaper when they're just in an agreement to purchase power from MB Energy, who they want to make money. They want to make money, and it's going to keep on going up.
Huh. Interesting.
So
have you ever thought, and this is the golden nugget time, right?
Okay.
You never know. Have you ever thought about the other end of the spectrum? Maybe there's, and just spitballing here, I'm thinking about like timeshares, right? So people sometimes they get into timeshares, they're long contracts, and they don't end up using the vacation home as much as they want to, but they can't. But they're in the contract, and there's companies now that exist that their whole job is to get you out of that contract, right? Now, with solar, is there any opportunity to, let's say, when someone buys a new house and has solar on it already, I see a lot of the negotiating is to ask the seller to pay off the solar. And I'm wondering if there might be an opportunity there where, you know, like mortgage companies will modify loans or, you know, refinance or, you know, like, because you obviously you have competitors, right? Maybe you can target your competitors who installed solar into some properties and find a way to make them your customers.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, just again, randomly spitballing. I know nothing about the industry.
I think that in the future, maybe stuff like that will happen because, like I said, the financial aspect of this is deregulated. Like there's well,
That's great.
It's not deregulated, but it's not heavily regulated to where these banks are making out like bandits on all these fees and all these, you know, finance charges that they're putting onto the customers. And I think eventually, yeah, because there are some people that get a solar loan that get screwed over. They, you know, are locked into this rate in this contract, and their solar doesn't produce everything that they need. And now they're paying solar and they're paying MV Energy. And that's something that's honestly common, but what are you going to do? You're locked in a contract for 25 years. I think eventually as the
refinance it.
Well, you can't refinance the loan. There's no solar refinancing.
Exactly my point. There is no solar refinancing. There's people with money they don't know what to do with.
Exactly.
You could raise money, build a company, call it a fund, have $10 million sitting there, go refinance these people, save them, and take the money from Bank of America and JP Morgan and stuff and put it in a private lender's pocket.
At the end of the
instead.
day, it's just loans.
Exactly.
You know, just like anything else.
You know where they're getting their money?
Sold off.
I'll tell you where they're getting their money. They get their money from the bank.
Yeah.
The bank will loan them money on a HELOC at 7%. The people who have these solar loans, maybe they're at 14%. I don't know. If I have a loan that I can get for 7% and take it from this hand, and I can be the second on someone's house and charge them 14 or whatever, they're already paying 20. They win, I win, the bank wins.
Yeah.
You know, but random again.
No,
this is how my brain works.
It's a good thought.
So.
I mean, we can definitely chat about it and see if there's any, you know, people in the network. I definitely know that, you know, that with this industry, there's going to be a lot of changes. And I think that definitely having options for people to refinance them and get a better rate, get their payment a little bit lower and things like, you know, different terms. I think that it would definitely make a difference.
Yeah. Well, we birdwalked a little while, and
a little bit.
I didn't know if you ever wanted to talk about solar, but we got there.
I like solar. I mean, it's given me a lot of opportunity. Made my first 7 figures in solar. Able to buy my house and you know, invest and have some cool cars and things. I bought a G-Wagon. Yeah, bought a G-Wagon since last time I saw you. Did it for the tax write-off.
Good, man.
It's getting wrapped right now. It's in the you know, Dip Auto Works. It's right up the street.
Of course, yeah. Dipped is awesome.
Yeah. So Christian over there, he's wrapping it and everything.
Yep.
So I'm excited to pick it up here any day now. But you know, I love solar. But even just with investing, I've learned that you can't keep all your eggs in one basket. And that's like I had everything in solar, and I was very dependent on that as my primary income. And at the end of the day, I'm relying on people. I'm relying on people to go out there and knock on doors and sell solar. And
can I give you some wise advice?
Yeah.
You did not make a mistake. putting all your eggs in one basket is what got you to where you are. And it's why you made 7 figures. And if you are a person where you're running in 2 directions, you don't get anywhere.
Sure.
The biggest mistake I made in my earlier affiliate career was I spread myself out.
Too thin.
Let's say it this way. So I had my affiliate site, and it was doing really well. It was killing it. It was making 10 or 20 grand a month. And then I was all about SEO before SEO was even a thing. It was like 2004. I was doing SEO, and no one knew what it was. I knew how to write content. I knew how to manipulate the search engines. I was very early to it, like I am kind of with everything. I started a second website, and I started a third website, and I started a fourth website, and they all had the same content, but it wasn't copy-pasted. It was just rewritten. I took my content, and I wrote the rules of Texas Hold'em, and then I hired a guy, and I said, rewrite the rules of Texas Hold'em in a different way, and I'm going to put it on website 2, and then website 3, and website 4. It's all the same topic. The only purpose I had was just trying to get more real estate in the search engine, but it was a mistake because some of my friends in the industry focused on one website, one business, and they started just, instead of writing the same content for 4 small websites, they took and promoted a really good, high quality, long tail piece of content that taught you everything you need to know about everything. It wasn't just how to play. It was here's tournaments. Here's how tournaments work in Europe. Here's everything you can think about a rule of poker that I didn't think to expand on. Mm-hmm. It made me an amateur when I'm really an expert, but I just failed to realize that too early. So like you focus really hard on your solar company. You're obviously doing great with the podcast room. You got everything great. You're not spread too thin. Keep it that way. The only thing that I would spread out is your investments. Make sure that you have your retirement fund set up, your IRAs. Make sure you have real estate. You want active real estate. You want passive real estate. Passive is stuff that just generates money for you. Active is like Airbnbs, stuff like just kind of mix it all up a little bit, but try to be as passive as you can because your time is valuable. For an Airbnb, hire a property management company. Buy it, leverage into it, make a cash flow every month, and just make that investment. The S&P 500, you don't need to day trade like me. It's probably not worth your time. Focus on what you're doing, and just keep adding that cash flow into the investment over time, and it's just going to compound. So, if you want to get into a whole different career, maybe consider selling the solar company and just moving on, but I wouldn't add on top of it, if that makes sense. I've made that mistake too many times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I hear you. I guess the thing with where we're at is we pivoted in a big way to where we're a part of now just a big company. We're a part of Legacy. So now Legacy is nationwide. So there's nothing even for us to sell, right? We're a bunch of sales guys in an office, and we're a part of them. And so where that was the opportunity in the past, and that's where we wanted to go with how the market went and with how the laws changed with the W-2 stuff here.
Yep.
We tried to do it for a while of paying people W-2 and hourly, and with them knocking doors, and man, it was just a money pit. And so we pivoted. We're with Legacy. I love Legacy and what they've got. And I've been able, it's honestly like they take a lot of the stress off of your plate of running
as
the business.
They should.
Like they handle payroll, they handle onboarding, they handle all the liability,
You're
taxes.
Almost like a franchise now
everything.
In a way, right?
Yeah, we're a division of Legacy here in Vegas, and our job is just to go sell, right? And so, the thing I'm passionate about is helping a lot of these young kids that come in to have them go from they're not making anything to help them make their first 6 figures or make, way more than they can make out in the world, at your normal 9-to-5 jobs. And so that's the part that I like and I enjoy, and I'm able to do that and still have time to build something else that actually is my own.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm focusing some of my efforts too. Like when I do have time, I've got some investments. I've got a financial advisor that, I pay myself through my business every 2 weeks. And
you have a SEP IRA yet? Your
No.
company makes the investment
Yeah.
into the retirement account on your behalf. So a traditional IRA, you're limited to, last year it was $6,500 a year. This year I think it's $7,000 or $7,500. With a SEP IRA, last time I contributed was like $46,000. It's probably over $50,000 now.
Yeah.
So you can like
I have a
9X.
traditional. I have traditional.
Yeah.
I had a Roth, but I think I made too much money to contribute to it. It's like 150,000 or something.
Well, that's
after that.
Yeah, you shouldn't be making that much money on paper either. That's why you got the G-Wagon.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
It was mostly because like with the W-2, I pay myself a good amount.
Yeah.
I was paying myself like $100K.
That's a good one. That's a
through
fair
my
amount.
business.
Yeah.
Just for me, it was like keeping the IRS off of my back, of letting them know like, hey, you have a company that's making $500,000 to $1 million in a year, and what are you doing with that? Okay,
you could probably pay yourself $50 and still get away with it.
Yeah.
The president of the United States makes like $400 or whatever, $250. I don't know.
Right.
But,
millions.
Yeah.
I don't really know.
Steve Jobs made $1.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
But yeah, so I definitely have my hands in different things, but I can definitely attest to what you're saying, like spreading myself too thin and being, in different projects, and then nothing winds up getting done. But this is something I'm passionate about with like the podcast studio and helping people with content and helping them with their brand. Cause I think right now, like branding yourself is going to be, it just really is what's going to set people up. Like, for having something sustainable, like you're your own business and you can brand yourself and have a community, like you can sell anything to them. So really just like supporting people in that process, using a lot of AI tools right now to script content.
I love that.
Editing content. Like imagine like what you could have done 20 years ago with the SEO if you had ChatGPT 4 right now. Like you could.
The problem is that everybody else has it too.
True.
So you have to be the first. Or the best.
So it's all about the prompts. Like the biggest thing is most people, they go in ChatGPT, write me an article about GameStop and why I should, you've got to learn how to fine tune the ChatGPT and fine tune the models, like which is kind of like the next kind of level of it, which I'm trying to dive into and learn. Yeah. Like it definitely takes like there's some element of coding and things that you can do, but then you can have your own GPT model that's smarter and better than just the generic by teaching it what it is. Like you're an expert in social media, making videos go viral for social media, and an expert in content writing for scripts, teaching it how to get better and better and better. And so like
create your own LLM.
Yeah, I've been like going down the rabbit hole of like automations and ChatGPT. So being able to like, I love automating things. Like that's something that I'm passionate about in businesses, like with CRMs and automation and texting and text funnels and setting appointments automatically, like just having a robot talk to them. Like that excites me. And so I've been doing a lot of automation with like script writing. So finding someone like, let's say you're in real estate and you want to start making a bunch of real estate videos, but it's like, okay, where do I start? I need a bunch of ideas. Well, who's a real estate guy that's pumping out a ton of content all the time? Well, Ryan Pineda, right? He's making content all the time. It's going viral. Let me take his videos that are already popping off, that are already gaining traction, copy those links, and then through this automation, it downloads the video, it transcribes it, and through a series of prompts, it rewrites that script for you and delivers it all in 60 seconds for you to then step into a studio like this, get behind the camera, record it, and then now you've got
on the teleprompter.
Yeah.
You don't even know what you need to say before you say it. You get in front, you make the content.
Yeah.
You can take that to another level now too. There's companies out there that create AI avatars of you. You've seen these where they come in, they record you talking for a few minutes, and then they take that, create an LLM with it, and then now you take that script that you just scraped, put it into this where it combines the avatar with you, and you are sitting there speaking flawlessly and teaching people this content in this course.
Yeah, it's scary.
And it's not even you.
No, it's scary.
Yeah,
it looks so
super
real.
scary.
It looks real. It sounds real. It's like
they don't have the voices quite down yet that I've seen, but You know, it's getting close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, give it a few years. That's what I said. Like Nvidia, invest in Nvidia. I mean, they're making the processing chips like behind like all the big, you know, supercomputers that are powering ChatGPT and OpenAI, and like even invest in Tesla. Tesla, you know, people don't know like OpenAI is founded by Elon Musk, and so, you know,
there's
one
a
of
big
his
story there,
companies.
but
Yeah. So I just think I'm big on AI. I'm big on like the amount of time it saves people, entrepreneurs, like and not even just time, but saving money. You don't even have to, you know, spend money to have employees do things that can be automated.
Well, and you know, being young and agile and an entrepreneur, we have such a big leg up on the retiring boomers right now, who have, dude, like the real landscape of business right now is that these people are getting old. You know, if I'm 40, that means they're 65. They're 65, they're retiring. 59 and a half is retirement age. They've got HVAC companies, they've got landscaping companies, all these companies which are making mints, but maybe they don't have children, or maybe if they do have children, they are lawyers or they work somewhere else, or they're not talented enough to take the business over. So you know what happens to these businesses? 90% of them just go, I'm retired, I'm done, closing the business. When someone like you or me, who could leverage our talents, our age, AI, automations, we can come in and we can literally take over those businesses for free. Hey, you're going to shut your business down? Let me take your business over and give you some money over time. I'll jump into it for free. You were going to close it anyways. You don't know how to sell it. You don't know who'd be interested in it.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it's like you have this business that's making a couple $100,000 or $1 million or $2 million a year, and you just start stacking them on top of each other. And this person ends up getting, you know, 300, 400, 500K over time for their business that you didn't have to pay anything for. You make $1 million or $2 million, and you just do it over and over and over again. I just keep seeing that in the business realm right now.
Yeah, I saw some videos on that too. Like people are just buying up businesses, either buying them or like you said, getting in for free and just, you know, let me take over, let me make it more efficient, let me get some new age technology in here.
Yeah.
You know, increase the amount of money that it can generate, and it's a win-win.
It is. It is. And yeah. I was gonna say. It's okay. Yeah. So
well, shit, man, it's been cool catching up with you and you know, shooting the shit, talking about GameStop investments and business and a bunch of stuff. Definitely want to have you on again in the near future when we, you know, go out and do what we do and crush some stuff, you know, in our own lives, and then check back in and see where we're at.
Well, if people want to check in with me in the meantime, I'm on Instagram. That's how we were chatting. It's just at @Moravec. And, you know, I love when people follow me. I love to hear positive things about what I'm doing, because I'm always posting on my story. And I'm still like kind of like an undiscovered diamond, I like to say, just because like people like you who know me and people in the audience who are listening, they can see the value, but I'm not out there. And I think I'm trying to get out there now, and we're like, you know, do some personal branding, and I'm starting to make some Instagram reels. But dude, like I usually just post to my friends. I'm on Facebook. I'll post whatever it is about stock tips or real estate, or I'll post it on reels, but like, you know, or stories, and people just don't see it, you know? So I think that once people start to see value in the content I provide too, it'd be really helpful. I'd love to be on here again.
Yeah. I think, I mean, the best thing you can do, man, is just get behind the camera, start spreading some of the knowledge that you have.
Yeah.
And, you know, it only takes one piece of content nowadays to go viral and to put you on the radar.
Yeah.
You know, the algorithms have made it a fair playing field for people, where it's not, you have to have all these followers to get, you know, tons and tons of views. Like you can have 100 followers and post a video that just gains traction and goes viral based on what the algorithm looks for. And, you know, you can have 10,000 followers and, you know, after one video. So I think we should chat about how we can support you in that personal branding. Like, creating some scripts and figure out what part you want to brand yourself in, right? Because just as an entrepreneur and doing all these things, right? You got to get specific, you know, is it investing? Is it e-commerce? Like what part of it is that you want to specialize in?
I had a piece of content about GameStop go extremely viral, like January 2021. And you heard Robinhood shut the buy button off and all this stuff back then. Did you hear about that?
Yep.
I was frustrated. Everybody in Wall Street Bets was frustrated. And I found a way where you could still buy shares of the stock without having to use the buy button. And that post on Wall Street Bets went viral, so viral that I ended up getting tens of thousands of dollars worth of awards pinned to my account from people. It made it to the front page of Reddit for the day. It got like 75,000 upvotes, which turned into millions and millions of views. And that post was literally mentioned in the Robinhood Slack channel and was, I think, brought in front of like Congress or the SEC, like, because I just was like, okay, it's easy. Like, if you want to buy shares and you can't use the buy button, then, you know, you can go and use an option strategy to do it. And here it is. And I just laid it out for people. It was informational.
Yeah.
So I have times when I shine. It's just that I didn't go, oh, by the way, follow me. You know what I mean? I got followers on Reddit, but like that doesn't really mean anything.
Well, and it's consistent too. It's like if you were to, do that on social, like I'm not super familiar with Reddit, but if you were to do it on Instagram, TikTok, something like it's funnily, if you were like, I'm a stock expert, right? And you posted that video and it got millions of views and people are checking out your profile. Oh, who is this guy? Okay. He's, a stock trader and he's an investor. And, oh, look at this. He's got, a PDF for, the 10 stocks that he's looking at in 2024. Like
that's what I'm missing.
Like whatever it is.
I need the magnet.
You need a funnel into them, build an audience and start building a community that you control. And then it's email marketing. It's all the stuff that
I could write a course in like seconds.
Yeah, you make a course like that.
Brain dump.
And at the end of the day, like people are going to get weeded out of like people that everyone's making a course nowadays. But like the ones who actually have legitimate success, legitimate results are going to have more longevity and success than just the young kid who made $100,000 and now he's an expert in whatever,
Well, and like the app that we were talking about earlier that I want to make will connect directly to your portfolio.
Yeah.
And it will verify that you have that position. Yeah. So you can't just go out and cheat. You can't take a screenshot and Photoshop it. It's a real connection to your portfolio that shows, hey, this dude said he is all in on Apple stock, but he just sold his Apple stock after he said that, like an hour after, like, you know what I mean? Like, whereas it's
like accountability.
Yeah, it's accountability. It's like, okay, this person is like Roaring Kitty, right? He had 50,000 shares, and then he went in front of Congress, and he started talking, and he said, I just tell people about the stocks I like, and that's it. And then later that day, at like 5 o'clock, he posted his weekly picture, and he doubled his shares. Instead of selling under all this pressure, he just bought more, and he just kept buying more. And like, it's just like, his conviction and his core values combined, the audience loves him. He can't do any wrong, this guy.
And that's personal branding, like right then and there. Like you see the impact that one person can have and can influence a whole bunch of people. And then, that's all it is. It's just like you're building trust within a community and you're getting them to trust you enough to buy your own products that you know are going to support them, whatever that is. If it's information or if it's e-commerce, physical products, health systems. There's just like so many things that people are doing. And I think it's just cool because that's the day and age we're in, like where you don't have to go to college and have a degree to be successful anymore. That's like what the boomers and that generation like grew up on, and then they taught, the younger, the millennial generation that. And I just think that we're going against the grain and showing people that like, hey, you can be a video game player and have a career and make money. You can, be a content creator. Like there's all these different things that it's a new way of thinking outside the box. And I love that because that's just who I know I am at my core. Like, I'm not a 9-to-5 guy. I don't fit in a box. Like, I'm creative, outside the box thinker. Like, I want to constantly disrupt things and, not listen to the rules and not have someone telling me what to do. I think that's probably why we connected.
Yeah, you should be with the people you are naturally attracted to, and others that you have a really strong alignment with in life and ideals, and trade ideas back and forth, support each other, help each other out. Like, that's what good friends do, good entrepreneurs do. So yeah, and we probably have a few things to talk about too with the people that are door knocking and other opportunities. I'll have to kind of just wrap my head around how that might work. Yeah. So but there's got to be some opportunity there.
Solar refinancing. We have a bunch of business ideas.
Dropped a couple nuggets. That one, obviously, that one's like a big ask. That would be a whole new company, but
it'd be big.
It's something that doesn't exist. It's something that the market needs.
I could tell you one thing is you would not have a shortage of customers.
Exactly.
You could get teams in every city to go, knock. I mean, you could either do it knocking on their door, or you can cold call some lists. But I guarantee you call someone and say, "Hey, we have a solar refinance program."
Oh, dude, you kill it. And you know what? The government would love you. The customers would love you. The investors behind your company would love you.
Helps the industry too. It puts more money, into circulation.
Yeah, exactly. So just refinancing. Refinancing is great, for us at least, not really for the banks.
I'm hoping to refinance my house pretty soon. Just waiting.
Yep.
Whenever we get these rates down.
Looking like it's going to be a little longer.
It will be.
Yeah, it'll happen.
Cool, man. Well, thanks for coming in, dude. Like, I appreciate it. It's been fun talking about a bunch of different stuff with you, and we'll publish this pretty soon. I'll send it to you. You can take a look, and we'll make some clips for our audience, and
awesome.
Maybe make a GameStop one here over the weekend if Dom's if he's not doing anything, we can make a nice couple viral pieces while everything's trending nowadays. A
couple reels would be great. I mean, my weekend is just starting. I stopped trading at 1:00 today and heading over to EDC. Okay. And I'm gonna have a blast. Nice. I've been excited to listen to some of these artists. You got some really good ones.
Cool, man.
Yeah, David Guetta and Alesso and Tiesto and Ilium, Steve Aoki. Nice. They're all gonna be there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Cool, man. It's exciting to have it here in Vegas. All my friends are going. I'm not.
Why aren't you going?
The truth?
Yeah, the truth.
I hate electronic music.
What do you like? Country? What do you like?
You see my stuff, man. I like.
You seem like a classic rock guy.
I like Latin music, man. I like just from my time in Mexico.
Okay.
I mean, I like hip hop and
makes sense.
I grew up more on like hip hop, rap, but nowadays I'm just listening to mostly Latin music. Pitbull? That's not Latin music. That's like. Worldwide. No, it's I like Bad Bunny and Fade and Karol G and like the Latin artists from Puerto Rico and Mexico and I like so
do they have
I don't know, everyone's got their different taste, man. Some of the stuff I like, people would be like,
well, do they have music festivals in Vegas that come here that
for Latin music?
They have to, right? I just don't know what they are.
They have one called like Urbana Festival or something like that. Not EDC type.
EDC is a whole.
Yeah. There's a fun festival down in Rosarito. It's called Baja Beach Fest.
Okay.
That's like the best one I'd probably say in the world to go to.
Okay.
It's just tons of Latin artists. Like you'll go for a weekend and you'll see literally every single person that you love. Just like you're kind of saying with all, those DJs. Like, it's just like that, and it's right on the beach. So you're literally, like, in the sand. There's a big stage.
Oh, my God, that's so cool.
It's a blast. I've been there a few times.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm just not, I mean, like, I don't hate it. It's mostly, like, the songs that don't have any words. Like, just...
Those are my favorite.
Well, my thing is I don't really do drugs, man.
I don't either.
I smoke weed, I drink, but like I'm not there. All my friends are gonna go and take acid and pop Molly and do all this stuff where they're in tune with the beats. Like that's just not really my scene. I love like Life is Beautiful, like that festival is cool. And
When
there's
we were young, would you go to When We Were Young?
Oh yeah, that
the emo stuff.
Yeah, all the emo stuff. I grew up
Yeah.
on that because I was a skater.
I went to that this year too.
Okay.
Oh, so was I.
Yeah, I was a skater, so I was at the skate park with my friends. And then I transitioned to longboarding and playing lacrosse. And
I had the Mountain Dew Santa Cruz skateboard with the slick on the bottom.
Okay.
I went around my neighborhood and I collected everyone's like trash.
Yeah.
On trash day, I'd go pull the points off the Pepsi boxes.
Yeah.
And I had so many, I turned them in and I got the skateboard.
Nice.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's yeah. So I listen to all that stuff. So I love those festivals are awesome. But hey, like, I think at Life is Beautiful, I saw Blink-182. That was like
they headlined When We Were Young.
Awesome, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't go to this last one. I think I was out of town.
Okay.
But I mean, they have it every year, right?
I have no idea. I heard about it
because there was one that got shut down
and
they canceled it or something.
I don't know which one that was. That was just like a week ago, right? Didn't they cancel something?
Yeah, that was Lovers and Friends.
Okay.
From The Wind.
See,
so I like that kind of music too.
I don't even know what that is.
That's like just R&B. That's like, Usher and
R. Kelly.
Neo. Yeah. If we want to get, I mean, shit, let's get canceled and talk about R. Kelly.
No, let's not. No.
No, yeah, a lot of, all that.
You told me to talk about controversial stuff.
I mean,
here I am.
Hey, we're here to, we're taking the time. We might as well go viral while we're at it. But yeah, that's like old school, like R&B, hip hop, slow jams, things like that.
Okay.
So
that sounds fun.
It's cool music.
Yeah.
I actually saw
my cousin's type of music is the R&B slow jams.
I saw Akon. He came to.
I would totally see Akon.
He went to live just for an appearance, but that was that weekend, and it got because the festival got canceled. Like he played like 10 songs, so it was like almost like you had like a whole concert from him. Like he played like all the the famous songs and all the things that he all the ones that he's famous for, and so it was awesome. And I was like literally like from me to the wall, like he's right there. So it was it was pretty fun. Those nightclubs are fun. Seeing artists just kind of pop up and do their little appearances. Sometimes they play like 1 or 2 songs and they're out, and that's like kind of lame because you wait all night. Yeah. Everyone, you pay more.
They don't start till 1 a.m. and all this stuff.
Sometimes they don't start till like 2 or 3. It's like
I can't do that.
And so and then they charge you more for the tables and all that. So it's like whack when they only play like 1 or 2 songs. Yeah. Like I think Peso Pluma came like last year for my roommate's birthday, and I think we paid like $4 or $5K for a table, and there was like tons of people there, and waited all night long. And he came on, he played 2 songs and then dipped, and it was just like,
that's lame.
Yeah, it's cool. Like guy like Akon came on, played like 10 songs, like everyone was vibing. Like he's been obviously had huge concerts, and he's in a small nightclub, but he's getting older, so he's probably like he showed some love, so it was cool.
Yeah. Yeah, some of these older artists can still put on a good show, like 50 Cent, and I think I saw Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne did a special appearance. I think he actually showed up for Blink-182.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was
weird. Everywhere, man. I mean, it's
Yeah.
Vegas. That's the one thing about Vegas is it'll never disappoint you in terms of entertainment. There's always something to go to, which is a blessing and a curse. Like I find it hard sometimes because it's like there's always something going on. It's somebody's birthday. There's some concert, some festival going on to where at some point you got to be able to say no and be wholesome and, not go out and spend a bunch of money and focus on your business.
To the beach every once in a while. Like I'm over in Newport Beach a lot. Like it's really nice. That is a great place to relax. It's a great place to free your mind.
Yeah.
You can go for long walks. There's tons of hiking out there. There's good people. Yeah. The food is pretty good. I don't think you can beat the food in Vegas, though, in general. Just, they serve you really well out here. But, yeah, man, like you can go out on a boat, go on the harbor, go to the ocean, like all that stuff. You need to relax every once in a while. Yeah,
that's like what's on my horizon is really just travel and produce income, not having to be here in, a physical place, which is 100% possible in this day and age. And so it's something I'm working on because I want to travel more. I mean, I traveled a lot during that COVID era. I lived in Nashville. So you were talking about crazy stories.
Yeah. I've never been, but I've heard
You've never been to
great
Nashville?
things about Nashville.
Nashville's super fun.
Everyone I talk to does exactly that. They go, "Oh my God, you haven't been?"
It's I do like country music, by the way. You threw that at me because I'm white.
Well, I grew up with country music, so I kid a little bit. There's some country songs I like, but I've heard so many songs that my brain is full of country. That's all. But tell me more about Nashville.
I dabble in it. I'm kind of all around. I like all different types. But Nashville, it's just a cool up and coming city. It's a city. It's not like, people think Nashville, they think country, and it's not just that. The culture is very country like, but it's a city. It's honestly faster growing than Vegas.
Yeah, I've heard. It's great.
Great investments there for real estate and things like that. But so when I was living in Nashville, it was right around the time when COVID rumors were coming out. So it was like, oh, there's this COVID thing. It's a virus from Japan, or wherever.
Are they mainly Republicans in Nashville?
Yes.
Like anti-vax type of thing is kind of what I'm wondering.
I mean, it's a red state for sure because it's just Tennessee. It's people like their guns and their rights, and I think that's why I liked it so much when I lived down there. But so when I was there, like, we didn't know what was happening, with COVID. It was kind of just like this thing that may happen, may not happen. It was killing people, who knows. But then and so what happened was I was staying in this really big mansion. So it's a historic mansion. It was owned by, or it still is owned by, one of my mentors. And while we were there, I had this dream, right? I had this dream that a tornado was coming at me. And it was coming right at me, right? And I went right through it. Like, my body just went right through it. I was unharmed, like nothing happened. That's like all I really remember from the dream. And a week later in Nashville, there was a tornado. And I'm from the East Coast, and so I've been through lots of blizzards and hurricanes and things like that, of storms where, like, you got to be careful and take cover and whatever, go to the basement. But I didn't take it as serious because I didn't really know. Oh, it's a tornado. There was
much smaller than a hurricane.
Tornado
Nothing
warning.
to worry about.
Tornado warning. Like, I didn't really know what to expect. The siren was going off and stuff like that. Well, when I wake up in the morning, like, Nashville got torn apart.
Wow.
Like, I think 25 people died. Buildings were torn to shreds.
Yeah. And
the path of the tornado literally went through our neighborhood.
Oh my gosh.
And luckily it missed our house by a football field, I want to say.
Yeah.
Which was crazy to think of the dream of, like, that I had and how similar it was and of like what happened. But so that happened, right? And it was really cool because the city came together like a community. And so we were outside all week chopping down trees in people's yards and cleaning up people's backyards. Like, people's houses were completely destroyed. There were brick buildings that were completely knocked down. It looked like you were in the apocalypse at that time. Like, just everything was torn to shreds. Literally 7 days later, COVID hits and the quarantine shutdown happens.
Oh no.
So now you've got buildings torn apart, you've got houses knocked down, you've got trees all over the place, and then you've got
looks like Detroit.
Right? And then you've got people going into, scrambling into the grocery stores, fighting over toilet paper and alarms going off. And I'm like sitting there, I'm like, this is scary. Like, this is crazy. Like,
it's like apocalypse.
Yeah. It was literally like a really scary time where I was like, I didn't really know what was going to happen. And so that was my COVID story. That's like when it all went down. I didn't believe the shutdown was happening until they said, oh, the NBA is now, canceled until further notice. I was like, no way.
No sports. They're all going to spread it.
Yeah.
No one's allowed in the stadiums. Remember all the cardboard cutouts in the stadium seats?
Yep. Yeah. And they were doing some virtual fans where you could hop on like a...
I was going out to Laughlin a lot and jet skiing. Have you done that before?
I haven't here, no.
So
I've been up to like Nelson's Landing.
Okay.
Is that near there?
No. So Laughlin and Bullhead City are essentially, it's the border of Nevada and Arizona, and the Colorado River goes between.
Okay.
Awesome place to jet ski. There's some casinos there on one side, and there's cheap gas on the other, and it's great. But when COVID was hitting, you had tons of people who had nothing to do would go and tent and camp, and I guess not really camp, but like they'd hang out on the side of the river, jet skis, boats, that type of stuff, and everyone was having a blast. And everyone's outdoors. They're like, it's fine, we're outdoors. Well, the city, whoever from like the high end of the government said, people from California are coming here, people from Vegas are coming here, and they shut it down. And I was so sad. I was like,
a party, right?
It was a party, but it was people were just having fun, and no one was spreading anything out there.
Yeah.
You're outdoors, but man, the crazy times that we lived in. So
yeah, I mean, I think it's just like you got to be able to adapt to the situations. I mean, just even in business, like you're going to have ups, you're going to have downs. In the stock market, you're going to have ups, you're going to have downs. You got to be able to adapt to those. It's the ones that get knocked down and have things happen like that. And, some of them crumble and fall and they don't get back up again. To me, it's all about adapting to your environment, your surroundings. We even say like in solar, like your job is to be a chameleon, right? Because you're talking to all these different people all the time. Like you've got to be able to be a chameleon. And, if I got someone that says they like EDC, I got to be able to talk about EDC a little bit and about electronic music, even though I don't like it, right? I got to be able to talk about it so I can have a connection with that person, and then the next person you meet is going to be completely different, right? They're going to be, from a different culture and different country maybe. So it's all, to me, it just comes down to adapting to your environment, and that's how you can have to long-term be sustainable in whatever you're doing. I mean, mostly business is what I relate it to.
Yeah, of course. And being a chameleon is a great way to put it, because people have different communication styles. People have different problems. I always used to say a lot of things in life comes back to poker. And in poker, you have a different decision every single hand. You're never going to have the same decision. You have 10 different personalities at the table. You have, I don't know, 1.5 million combinations of cards that can hit the flop and all that stuff. And being a chameleon is a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know we kind of we went long today, but I think we got some good topics out there.
Got a lot of stuff to talk about, man.
Yeah,
we connect on a lot of things. And wow, I don't even know when I got here anymore. It's almost 6 o'clock.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
wow. Cool, man. Well, let's connect again here soon in the future, and let's chat about all our 10 business ideas that we've had since we've got here.
I know there's something we can definitely like yin and yang each other on, like with your talents and your team and just everything. I'm watching your Instagram, whenever you post something, I'm like, oh, Jack's doing good, so yeah.
I appreciate it, bro. Well, I'll have to come back over to the Pano soon and check out the spot.
Sounds good. Yeah, when I come into town, I'll ping you. So
yeah,
I'm in Newport. And
well, maybe I'll come out there too for a weekend. It's
yeah.
I definitely
do it.
I need some beach, some sand in my life, some ocean waves.
Yep.
Cool, man. Well, thanks for coming in.
All right, you got it.